Yo, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here, and today we're taking a look at the Winter Offensive case. So, first things first, we have the M249 Magma, and this is a very weird skin. I don't think I've ever seen this used in game. To be fair, you almost never see any M249 skins, because there's no reason to ever buy this. But, I just don't think I've ever even heard anyone even talk about this. I didn't even know this was a skin in the game. Um, I think for good reason, because the stock is still the same, but then the rest of the gun is almost like a graffitied, like rustic weapon. Almost just kind of how you'd expect like just some random metal to rust away, and then it has like some light blue as well. Not sure how to feel about this thing. I think it doesn't look that great. Probably looks a little bit better than stock, but I think the main factor for this one is it's just super unique looking. I don't think there's many skins that look even remotely close to this in game. So if you're trying to build a collection of unique looking weapons, this is a good choice for you, but otherwise I can't say I like this one too much. So it's gonna be a D tier from me. And next up, we have the 5.7 Cami. Now, this skin in itself does not look that great. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's just kind of like a white top with some random comic strips. But the cool thing from this one is all the different unique patterns that you can have from this. I actually own one of these myself, so I'm definitely very biased here. But this one I have has like a little V face in the back. I really like it for that reason. I think that part is really dope about it. But other than the cool different back patterns this thing can have, the actual base weapon, like the front of the weapon and everything, never ends up really looking that good. It's really hard to decipher what it is. And the only reason I can ever recommend this one is if it has a good back pattern, which there's quite a few back patterns that look pretty solid. So that's kind of what this skin should be known for. I don't think the actual weapon skin is good at all. So for that reason, I'm gonna put this one in C tier because I really personally do like this one. Yeah, that's why I own one. um, but I do think the actual base skin is pretty horrible. So I can't really put it much higher reasonably. Anyway, next up we have the Cobalt Halftone, another weapon skin I've just never heard of before, and it doesn't. I mean, it's a Cobalt version of the stock, kinda. Not a full skin. The barrel here isn't colored at all. Um, yeah, it's like some random pattern, light blue. I can't say it's worse than stock, but I can't say I'd ever really want it. For me, that's an easy low D tier. I don't even think about that at all. Then we have the Galil AR Sandstorm. This is yet another weapon known for its specific patterns. You can have patterns which are all purple, like the whole skin's purple, some which are super tan, and some that have, you see like on the stock of this barrel, sometimes you can have one that's like 80% this color. So just for that kind of like cool fact, it's somewhat cool. The problem being that this is a weapon skin that shows a lot of wear very easily. There's like a field tested one and it looks almost like well worn. Um, but when this is in pristine condition with the right patterns, it can actually look pretty solid. To the point where I'd actually say it's one of the nicer looking Galil skins. So for that reason, I'm actually just gonna put in the B tier. Because under the right conditions, this is a really, really solid Galil skin. But having a low condition one or whatever is not really ever gonna look that nice. Now we have our first purple, the Nova Rising Skull. Yet another weapon. I have not heard about like any of these skins ever before. And this one just has like a laughing skull in the back, and then a very basic like just light colored pattern on it. It looks kind of clean. It doesn't look particularly great or anything, but it definitely doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely a straight upgrade from stock, and the little laughing skull in the back is kind of funny, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, that's all there is to it. Very basic Nova skin. Can't say it's bad though. I'm gonna put in the C tier. I don't think you can go wrong really having this equipped. It just doesn't look bad. Then we have our FAMAS Pulse, which used to be the most used like FAMAS skin back in the day in my memory. This was really hype when it came out, and I can kind of see why. The actual design of the skin is really dope. It's like a defragmenting pink and purple stuff over a black void. Actually looks really sick. The problem being that this is one of those FAMAS skins that has a shit ton of wear to it. This is a .03, so pretty solid fact new float, and it looks like field tested and maybe even well worn when you see all the scratches on this thing. But the actual design of this is still amazing. It still holds up very well to this day, especially the back stock here looks really, really cool in my opinion. And it's just, yeah, it's a really good looking skin. I can see why it was one of the most used skins back in the day. And for that, I'm actually going to put it at low B tier since a lot of FAMAS skins kind of have this same problem. And the actual design is really cool, so you can kind of almost overlook it. Then we have the MP9 Rose Iron, another skin I've never heard of, and I'm not sure why, because this one actually looks really dope. Black background with like a golden flower kind of sprouting all about it. The red dots that it has just all over kind of weird, but the actual design of like the rose petal thing itself, like the actual flower here, looks really dope. And despite it using stock for the back and bottom, the actual main part of the weapon skin that you'll see in game just looks super sick. Honestly, one of the better looking MP9 skins. Then the color scheme of this is just absolutely beautiful. Red, gold, and black is one of the best color schemes you can have. I think the fact that not many people use this is honestly kind of a problem. I think more people should. I think it's the best thing we've seen so far, but I can't realistically put it in that S or A tier spot because it's not that level of insane. Then we have the Dual Bros Marina. I used to own these back in the day, like a pair of these. And yeah, it's just yellow and blue, almost like a random pattern on the dualies. It's a full color, so the actual there's actually a full applied weapon skin here. And yellow colored skins are somewhat cool, I guess. So if you're going for like a yellow, or even if you're going for a blue loadout, this can kind of work for you. Very nice, bright, and vibrant skin, and it looks very, very clean. I mean, this is FAC new, but it's a low FAC new, and I don't even notice any scratches, if there are any. Yeah, they're pretty solid. Nothing crazy though. But probably between the Kami and the Nova for me, because yeah, I really like the Kami patterns a lot. Then we have the P250 Mendy, the skin with probably the most iBuy power stickers I've ever seen on it, at least on the market. Seems like almost every one of these has like an iBuy power paper on it. But the actual skin itself is a very interesting design. Kind of reminds me of Dia de los Muertos, like Day of the Dead, like the Spanish holiday. Reminds me of that types of design that you'll see in celebration of that. And it just looks kind of clean with that type of design in mind. And the color scheme is really nice. The bottom part being black, the top part being red, and then the design kind of working with that, at least really well, at least for this pattern. I don't know if this one has different patterns. But yeah, just a really clean looking P250 skin that you really can't go wrong with. And honestly, if it was a bit cheaper, I might pick up. But I do have some other P250 skins I like a bit more. But it's a really solid one. I honestly put this one in B tier. Then we have the M4A1S Guardian, which is just a classic. It's a nice, like, almost like jeans type of color. With a nice, CT logo on the bottom, and then the front has some like random stuff relating to counter terrorists. It just feels like the almost like quote unquote official M4A1S. It's not really that flashy, but it does nothing wrong. This is 100% a straight upgrade to stock, and just from a design perspective, it looks really clean. Like I literally can't find any flaw with this thing. The only flaw being maybe the design's like not super cool, but it's really clean. To the point that I think it's the second best thing we've seen so far. That MP9 actually was shockingly good in my opinion. It looks really nice. Then we have the AWP Redline, just a really solid AWP skin, even as this design going onto the scope. And since the actual AWP itself is black, the barrel being just a solid black per the usual actually almost fits with the skin. And yeah, just a simple red lines on a black like carbon fiber background. It just looks clean. I really can't complain about this. It's literally just a really clean looking up. It's kind of same thing with the M4A1S, except it looks a little bit cooler and has a better color scheme. So yeah, I'll put it below that MP9B tier. And actually, I'm gonna move that MP9 up to A tier with the AWP because I think there's a pretty distinct difference between how good these are and the M4A1S. But do know they are low A tiers. They're not particularly insanely good skins. Then we have the sawed-off Kraken, which is a really beautifully designed, just Kraken sea monster spreading across most of the weapon. I do find it kind of weird that the rest of the design is still stock. Um, But it still looks really solid. It's a really, really well done piece of art, like the actual art for the Kraken. Unfortunately, it's on the sawed-off, so it'll never actually get seen in game. But it looks somewhat solid. It's unfortunate that it's not a finished skin, and I'm not a fan of unfinished skins, so I can't put it too high. But I still think it's somewhat okay to the point that I'm actually put it top of C tier. I don't think it's as solid as everything in B tier, but it's still a very well done skin. And our final skin for this collection is the M4A4 Asimov. This is actually a really low float 1.32. These are normally super clean, so all these scratches is because this is actually a low wear one. When this is in a higher wear, it's just a really clean, usual Asimov design. I don't even know how to describe what this design is, but the Asimov design just looks absolutely amazing on pretty much everything it's ever been applied on, and this is no exception. So really clean, high tech looking M4A4 skin. Probably not the best thing in this collection. I really do think that MP9 kind of shines above most other things, but it's definitely a solid A tier skin. And yeah, that's it for the Winter Offensive Collection case. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.